Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Chris the Pack, and you are watching The Grind, the show here on the Waypoint podcast where we talk to content creators about content creation. Today, joining me is my co-host, as always, Albob875, and I'm very, very excited to announce this week's guest, even though it's a bi-weekly show, the one, the only, your friendly neighborhood Paul. Paul, how the hell are you today?
Yo, man, I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
I'm loving it. I'm a huge fan,
Doing
I just
great.
want to say, of the flamingo.
Yes.
I'm glad. That's a new addition. That was something that I wanted to kind of like spice up the background for when I don't have the green screen, because I like the green screen because it looks a little cleaner for like normal streaming stuff. But then I was like, well, beforehand, like I have this, but like,
Which is beautiful.
why not just go like ridiculous and just be like, wait, is that
Mhm.
do you have a light up flamingo? Yeah,
I think it works with the whole, like, the Hawaiian shirt.
shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
man.
the
Mhm.
the plane charter person. I don't smuggle. I don't know what the planes have. I just
You
I
just
just
fly it.
charter the flight. I don't
Maybe
know.
there's something on it. Who could say?
Maybe it's just people. Maybe they're boxes. I don't know. All right, they don't pay me for that.
That's above my pay grade. I just make it happen. Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
but for those that might not know you, like, give me a short rundown on who you are and what you do. Yeah.
Sure, why not? How you guys doing? If you guys don't know who I am, I'm your friendly neighborhood Paul. I broadcast on twitch.tv/FNH Paul every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes on Thursday, bringing you some of the very best in RPG gameplay, Hawaiian shirts, the occasional first-person shooter, and of course, bad jokes. It's what I do.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
can
don't,
confirm.
I think
I
you
can
mean
confirm that
great
last bit.
jokes.
I was gonna say, look, we're all a part of this little fandom,
Oh,
all right? Let's not
yeah.
pretend like the fucking pit vipers. If you know, you know. Like, let's not pretend like like we don't all feed off that like bad joke, stupid
First off,
premise thing.
Pit Viper's awesome. I'm just throwing that out there.
Look, man, if you ain't got the leopard print, which if y'all don't get that joke, it's fine. That's like an inside joke inside a fucking inside joke. You ain't got that leopard, like understanding that leopard print, then like I get it, but yeah, it's all ridiculous. We're
No,
just
no.
the only thing worse than our inside jokes is how many like factions inside of factions that we all
Right.
have.
It's layers on layers. Like, it's unbelievable how deep some of the shit goes.
Like, kind of funny best friend, Carl Collective, NTO Overwatch, and like team like it's
Mhm.
just like and then Sword Maidens and then other things on top of that.
Mhm.
It all happens so fast too. So I'm curious about, as a married man, is like, do you ever try and have to sit down and you'll just kind of say something like talking to your wife, and then she'll be like, I don't know what those words mean, and then you have to sit down and be like, I have to give you like months of, of background information.
So what's funny is I've sat down and had that conversation with her. I have sat down and I was talking about something. I brought up somebody's name. Hell, even you Rumble. So I'd be like, yeah, I was playing with Rumble Pack and da 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 da. She was like Rumble Pack. I was like, oh yeah, he's part of Waypoint and all that shit. Waypoint. Like, well, they're like a part of like the NTO. The NTO. The NTO is kind of like an offshoot of the Carl Collective. The Carl Collective.
And
Well,
then
they're
you're like,
like kind of
okay,
like a group of kind of funny best friends. Okay, well, I know them. Like,
yeah.
she's met Greg Miller and them, like, at meetups. She's like, okay,
Mhm.
so it's like a group inside of a group inside of a group that's an offshoot inside of a group. I was like, yeah, it's kind of like the Russian nesting dolls. It's just, it keeps getting,
It's like
and
an
then here I
onion.
am.
It has
Yeah,
layers.
it has layers.
It's literally that exact like almost that exact conversation
Yeah.
that I've had many times, and I feel like fucking like Charlie on It's Always Sunny with the board and all the red strings and
Okay, well,
everything,
you
like
see,
trying to
he
explain
was
it.
over
Like,
there, and then so he's one of this group and that group, but that group typically deals with this and this, but that group over there deals with that and that. So,
it's like, yeah, this one was made by Robert Hyman, but then Scooter Cannon took this thing. It should be like Scooter Cannon. Like, okay, well, he's like, it's
Fuck.
just
well,
this
no,
constant.
no. It's fucking Cracker T made that, but then Cracker T changed his name to Scooter Cannon, and then extremely formerly known as Cracker T made Scooter Cannon, and then Scooter Cannon was like,
It's getting more complex
I
than
haven't.
that.
Oh, it's so much worse because then, like, you have the angels, and then the sword maidens, and then you have like just, huh. Which, by the way, that episode, I will say, that last episode was fucking.
Hey, thank you very much.
Y'all just being
Thank
like
you.
a little buzzed off of the
I was more than
fucking
a little
Aces.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna drop that. I was gonna leave y'all at a little buzzed, but yeah, you guys.
I'll admit it, dude.
I mean, our team won a championship
litty.
game. Of course, we're drinking.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Bro, I got Johnny Ace jersey over that way. Like I was.
Mine's coming eventually. It's on
What
in
fucks with
process.
me is I got the jersey. The
Mhm.
2 T-shirts I bought aren't here yet,
Oh
and
jeez.
I'm terrified because I'm like, those all got ordered at the same time. Yeah.
My shirts took a little while. I missed out on the jerseys though.
I got a custom jersey, so that's why mine's taking so much longer.
I
Makes
was
sense.
gonna get a custom one, but I was like, Johnny Ace is close enough. Like we're just gonna run it,
Mhm.
Yeah, you get it for the colors, really. I mean, that's
pretty
Yeah.
much.
the thing. All right,
But-
Paul. Well, of course, you've seen the show, so I don't have to go too far into it. But I mean, if this
For
is
the
anyone watching this
uninitiated.
for the very first time, of course, we like to talk
Thank
to our
you.
guests about
First
their
of
own
all.
struggles and content creation. Also, thank you. Yeah, maybe hit that little button down there. Maybe go over to twitch.tv/RoboPack92. Just start gifting subs out left and right. You know what I mean? How much money you got right now? It should go over there. That's all I'm saying. He's a cool guy, I've heard. You got to work it in however you can. You know, that's the grind right there.
You're not wrong.
Like Akon said, because we out here grinding.
So I'm actually going to start you off with a question from the Waypoint press pool.
Okay.
From one some other Josh who you may or may not be familiar with. Yeah, he
I heard
did
he's all right.
he did tell me to tell you. I said thank you for coming on to the podcast, and then I told him I will not do that. So I did not do that.
No, you don't.
No.
Strike from the record.
There's gonna be a hard cut like right before I start that sentence, and then immediately after. So
yeah, just put like beep.
they'll never know.
It's gonna be like a 5-minute long beep.
So we're interested specifically for this question in the backstory of FNH Paul, which is outside of the Spider-Man reference, the friendly neighborhood. It's like what's kind of is like where did that name come from, and what's sort of the origin behind the like the cartoon character logo that you have as well?
Okay, so this is gonna be a story in 2 parts. So starting off with the FNH part, right? So we'll start. Obviously, it is a friendly neighborhood, so it's a Spider-Man reference. I'm a big comic book fan. What actually got me into it, which is weird, was when I was growing up. My high school library, the library of my high school had one of those big like omnibuses
Oh
of
yeah,
Spider-Man comics that somebody at
Ooh.
some point donated. And it was like I stumbled upon it randomly because it was jammed in the fiction section, like up near like a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, is this fucking Spider-Man? And it's just like a tome. And it was just like, I don't remember what stories were in it. I couldn't tell you the issues. I remember I think it was Hobgoblin was in it.
ooh.
So I think the Hobgoblin was in it. So that kind of gives you a rough like 90s
I was
time
gonna say yeah,
frame of,
like 90s, early 2000s kind of
yeah. So it was you had like 90s Spider-Man and friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, all that stuff. And so that's what kind of got me into comic books, that kind of like tipped the scale in it, not counting the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies or the Batman movies or all that other stuff, right? So that was like comic books. Like I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And so I started my enjoyment of comic books a little bit here and there, but I wasn't too deep into it, mostly because I was broke. I was a high school kid. I ain't got money to spend on comic books. Like the fuck. But when I joined the military and started earning my own money, I started buying comics because that's what you do. Like I've got like 50 issues. I got 50 issues of Cable and Deadpool behind me.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. I got
fantastic.
Well, technically I have 52 because I have a couple variant covers, but regardless. So I've got so I started getting into comic books, and Spider-Man has always been one of those that I don't always read, but I read a lot. From 2012 to 2015, I show up over here in the UK, which is currently where I live. When I was going through my in-processing stuff, so like God, I'm sorry, we got to go so many layers. So when you go from one base to another, you have to do these in processing things, right? So it's just like a hey, welcome to the base. Here's some do's, here's some don'ts, yada yada yada, yada yada yada. Don't hurt nobody, Don't fucking don't hit a horse in Newmarket, shit like that. And so one of the guys there was like, hey, by the way, me and a handful of other guys do a sports radio show at one of the local community radio stations. If you guys want to check us out, you can check us out here, or you can also check out iRadio, blah, blah, blah. But we're also looking for new hosts right now. You don't have any past broadcast experience. You just have to be able to talk sports, and we can work with that. And so I was like, fuck it. Because I was in the same way that I started Twitch is the same way I did that, which was like, I try it out. If I suck, I never talk to these people ever fucking again.
Right.
It's not a big fucking deal.
Yep.
And so I go and I did that 5 days between getting in this country. I showed up May 16th. May 21st was my first show here in the UK, which is just fucking weird. Which even to tie that into something else you didn't even, my wife, who is English, she was the assistant manager at that station. Had I not rolled the dice on that, I would not have met my wife. It is fucking weird. It is some Netflix special bullshit. But surprisingly enough, that's how I actually met my wife. And so I did that radio show, and
New sitcom coming to CBS this fall.
Yeah, coming to CBS. Coming to CBS this fall. This fucking over the top fucking radio voice. But yeah, so so originally when I started that radio station, when I was doing that, I was just Paul. But of course, like we had one guy who was called Schaff, which was kind of like an offshoot of his last name. We had a guy called Nasty Nate, which the only reason we called him that is because
Nate.
It was nasty. It was more like a nasty Nate. He was from Texas. He was Dallas Cowboys fan, but the bottom was that he had a dip bottle that he would just spit in during the show, and I was like, "That's fucking nasty." You're nasty.
Oh, he for real from Texas. Then.
Oh
Damn.
yeah, oh yeah. We had him. We had we had another guy called Miguel who was a boxer. We found out like he did boxing in the UK, and so he was just like the Fighting Pride Miguel. And so I didn't have a name. I didn't have a moniker. So I was like, friendly neighborhood Paul. Fuck it. Like, I'm just going with Spider-Man with it. And so I shortened it to FN Paul. And I was like, that kind of sounds like I'm just saying fucking Paul.
Fucking so, Paul, baby.
Fucking Paul, baby. So I was like, FNH Paul. And a lot of people thought that was fucking stupid. Like, my wife still hates that name to this day. Like when I was in the radio station, she was like, "That's a terrible name." I was like, "Yeah, it is, but it's mine. Therefore, I'm running it." And so that is where that started. So that started in I think 2016. So I've used that from 2016 all the way up to now, which is why if you go on to Twitter, there's an FNH Paul that is me from 2016 that I forgot the password to and the email for.
Been there before. Been there.
And now, so I am FNH _ Paul because I fucked myself. Like the last thing, I even tried to like reclaim that account, and Twitter was like, "Oh yeah, all you gotta do is do X, Y, and Z." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, cool." And I just never fucking did it. And so I'm just like, I don't even care. Underscore. I now have underscore on that and on Instagram. I'm over it. It's easy.
Live and die by the underscore.
Yeah, you live and die by the underscore. So that is where the FNH came from. And I'm trying to remember what the hell the other part of that question was.
The cartoon character. Like the
cartoon character.
Yeah.
Now that is another story. So pivot. All right. So now we're going into the other story. So that was me and a buddy of mine, Anthony, or AKA STX Live on Twitter, or on Twitch and Twitter, and on one of his 17 Instagram accounts.
Yeah.
We started doing comic books because I'm a comic book fan. I like to write a little bit. I have a slight history in creative writing. Like I've written short stories and shit like that.
Oh, cool.
So like, I want to make a character. So he had been working on characters before. And so I designed a character that I lovingly named Try Hard. Yeah. But it's spelled TRI, not TRY, because it's why not? Because I was like, his 3 powers is like he's got, which really is just boiled down to think of Luke Cage, but like without the super strength.
Cool.
It's just like endurance, invulnerability, and then just like a knack for not staying the fuck down. Like, don't fucking get involved. I'm gonna get involved.
And it's like, nope, can't do that.
Can't do that. Can't have that. And so I wrote the character. I've written a whole volume on it, like a whole volume. I say a volume. I've written a story arc on it. And so I did that.
Got a whole omnibus like that Star Wars.
Not even that, but it is a solid, like, I think if I pulled it up, it's like a script view, and I think it's like a good 10,000, 15,000 word document of just writing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I tried. I was like, bam, we doing this. And so I was
full sent it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I full sent it. Like, you gotta commit. You gotta commit to the bit. And so we also designed the character for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what the character design is. So that comic book character was what you see try hard with that FNH Paul, that little character that just kind of waves in the background. Like I've now, turned into stickers and like t-shirts and stuff like that. And everybody's like, oh, that's FNH Paul. And I was like, kinda. Well, I was like, it is now adopted FNH Paul. That's not his name, but at the same time, like, fuck it, because that comic book probably never coming out, because as much as I love him to death, he is like one of those dudes. Like, I met him through the military. He's just one of those ride or die motherfuckers. That comic ain't ever coming out, because that man is working on 17 different projects at one given time, and he's behind on each and every one of them.
Ideas, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he does amazing artwork. Like, a good 75% of the artwork that I use, like, for my channel, is based off of his stuff.
Oh, cool.
Either he did it, or it is something based off of something he did. And so it's like a lot of my amazing artwork to him, which annoys the shit out of me, because that mother lover does not accept payment. He's like, nah, I just do it for fun. Like, I ain't taking cash. And I'm like, let me pay you. And he was like, no. And I found a way around it, because when he still lived with me, because lived with me. He lived in the UK. He's now moved back stateside. He wouldn't accept cash. I tried to give him cash at one point. I literally put cash in his house. Like, I just put it in his house. He then took that cash, put it in my locker at work like an asshole. I then was like,
I bet he knew. He's like, I know what this is fucking for.
Yeah, because he was like, why do I have $60 just laying on my counter? That motherfucker. And then he put 2 and 2 together to make 4, and was like, all right, he put it in my locker at work. And so I was like, all right, you won't be like that. So I bought him wine. I knew his favorite wine, so I just bought him the wine. Nice. So I bought like $60 worth of wine, which is like, 7 bottles of it or whatever. And I showed up at his house because we were doing some shit, and I just put 7 bottles of wine on the counter. He was like, why? And I was like, this is payment for the stuff. And he was like, you asshole. And I was like, you're not going to give this back, are you? I'm paying you one way or another. Sorry, I don't know if I was allowed to flip on the camera.
100%.
Of course.
Okay, these are things that you should ask before you start shows.
No. Here's the thing.
Future guest of the grind.
Here's the thing. We'll clear the air right here. Future guest of the grind. You can basically do whatever the hell you want on this show.
Yeah.
Don't be a huge asshole or nothing. But outside of that,
we're just on YouTube. YouTube's Wild West.
All right, fine. We opened that up a little bit. Show
us good, baby.
I can't show too much. I mean, I just started going back to the gym this week. Like, it ain't there yet.
I feel it, man. I got it all mine's like down here too. And
all right here.
It's really great to have the cutoff of the camera like right here.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me look much better than I actually do.
Yeah, let me just zoom. Right there.
I'm just,
Albom's like, you son of a bitch. I had this crop perfect. Don't worry about it. I'll break your knees later. I don't know why you went to that. Why that's your voice?
Why it's Watto?
Why does he sound like a Spider-Man villain?
No, I said Watto.
Annie. All right, we
small Watto.
Blue, the boy, the mother.
Oh my god, I fucking love it.
Oh god.
I guess I'm watching Phantom Menace tonight now too.
Duel of the Fates.
It's hot.
Fates, yeah.
Darth
That
Maul is still
that
one of
shit's
my
gonna be flat.
favorite fucking villains.
Oh,
Still
yeah.
one of my
Absolutely.
favorite villains.
Especially with Clone Wars and Rebels.
You gotta watch them, Paul. I know that face. I don't know what you're about to say. You should watch them, dude. That shit's
I
dope.
should. I dodged it because I heard Clone Wars was fucking bad. But like, okay, what was bad? The movie or the show?
Movie.
The movie was bad.
Movie's bad.
Okay. Because that was the thing. I was like, oh, Clone Wars sucks. Clone Wars awesome. I was like, okay, wait, which one sucks and which one's awesome?
Attack of the
I'm not
Clones
thinking.
sucks.
Well, Attack of the Clones is. Nah, I'm not even fucking with that one. But yeah,
No,
it's just.
movie's not great, and it's also like, it doesn't really do anything outside of just kind of set up the show. But it's like the movie is Star Wars already kind of set up the show as well, so you can kind of ignore the movie. Now there is, if you do decide to get in Clone Wars, I'd recommend finding like a watch list or something, because there's a decent amount of filler in there that's not worth your time.
As it happens.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's still a kid's show. Like there's kind of some dumb stuff in there, but there are watch lists that kind of skip all that, so you just get the meat of it. And when it's good, it's good. Like it's damn good Star Wars.
Good soldiers follow orders.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. That was a sad
See,
episode.
here's the bad thing, right? It's like I would love to sit here. Y'all have other shows where you talk about like
Stuff.
Winter Soldier and like. Do you guys have are you guys talking about Invincible? Am I just drunk and missed those? Or you guys
No, we're not talking about Invincible anymore.
We're probably. I think we're
guys...
talking about waiting till it's all out and then just doing like one show on it all.
All right, look, all I'm saying.
Watch Invincible.
I will open my schedule if you want to bring. I will be a special guest. I don't give a shit because I've read the first. I was talking about this with somebody else. I was like, I think I read the first like 20 volumes because I read them all at one time like an idiot. So I just burned my. There's like 25 volumes.
Jeez.
Volumes of Invincible.
Big.
Like like hundreds of hundreds of issues. So like I burned through like 20 some odd volumes at one time, which is why I burned out, why I stopped reading it. But now I'm like, looking at it again, I'm like, I'm on like 20. I'm on volume 20. There's like 25.
Jeez.
I should just finish this out. Like I should just say fucking finish it out. But I'm like, okay, if I just jump back in 20, how much stuff have I forgotten since I read it in like 2018? But I digress. I'm just saying. I'm gonna just throw my name out there. I ain't saying you gotta. I'm just saying I'm available. I'm just saying I'm available.
I will make it happen.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I'm loving the trend of anytime that Paul buys comics, he doesn't just like kind of buy like a couple issues. He buys like the entire run kind of at once.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah.
I will buy if I buy like an issue.
Like nothing's in progress.
Well, that's the thing. I'll buy like an issue of it. And if I like it, like perfect example is X-23, right? Or no, All New Wolverine. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
All New Wolverine.
Where
All
X-23
New Wolverine?
is Wolverine.
Yeah, where she is Wolverine. Laura. So I read issue 1 and I was like, I like this.
Hell yeah.
Volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. Typically, I ain't gonna lie, because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Like, when you buy the floppies, they're like $2-3 a pop, give or take. But when you go on like Comixology, or if you just buy from your local comic book shops, which support your local comic book shops, like it's easier to just buy those volumes, especially whenever you don't care necessarily about collecting the issues.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like what I did.
If you just want the story, buy the volumes, because there's usually, it kind of depends on the character in the issue or the story or whatever. But I mean, there's usually like 5 of the
yeah. There's normally about 5, 6. Normally, they're typically break them up into story arcs. So it's like you have one arc, the next arc, the next arc, because that's how they do it. So you normally have like a 6-issue story, which I mean, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I bought a lot of those. Like, I bought the only time like where it's like a little bit different is like whenever I'll buy the volumes and then I'll start buying month to month.
Yeah.
But even still, like even then, like I don't do that very often just because I'm terrible at keeping up with comics. I will read comics for like a solid week and then I will not touch another comic book for like another 2 months.
And then also you're talking about layers. I mean, everything's so interconnected that it's hard to do month to month sometimes. Like,
God forbid you jump into Marvel right now with like the King in Black shit. I'm like, I get it. Noel is there. Just leave me alone. Yeah. Which, if you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, I understand. Long story short, Venom, symbiote. Noel made symbiote somehow. Cosmic Marvel shit. That's all you gotta know.
It
Like
gets weird.
way up here, like that shit that the Marvel movies haven't touched on a whole lot. That level, that level. Like
Okay.
Thanos here, Galactus here. Noel is somehow mixed in with like Galactus level, but it's even like newer, so it's weird. It's
It's all strange.
I could spend like a good 3 days talking about just fucking not even the comics that I like, just the comics I know, which ain't even that much. Like my comic book knowledge is like this compared to other people's, which is like that.
Yeah, I mean, I like the characters I like, and that's kind of what I read, and that's really about it. I know there's other shit happening. I don't read any of it. But I mean,
I will say before we get off comic books,
yeah.
if you guys like, I will say if you're a DC guy and you enjoy DC, Tom King's Mr. Miracle is fucking great. It's a I think it's technically classified as a 12-issue mini. So it's all one story. It's all right there. Tom King does phenomenal.
His Batman are so good.
Batman was good. I enjoyed Batman, but a lot of people a little hit and miss on it because he had 100 issues.
Yeah,
And so like some people weren't super huge on that one. But like if you liked WandaVision, go read Vision. It's 12 issues.
Oh yeah, I heard
and
about
it
that.
follows a very similar. It follows a similar line, but not 100%. It's obviously like they took bits and pieces from it for the show, but it's not the same show. And so it's like you have like the Vision, you have Mr. Miracle. He's doing right now on one that's called Adam Strange. Which, if you don't know who the fuck he is, if you watch Krypton, you have a general idea of who he is. But like that's also really good right now. He does a lot of great stuff. But a lot of people will say he does better with miniseries versus like big ongoings.
Gigantic ongoing.
When he knows, like, yeah, when he's got like when he's got a definitive start and stop, he can craft just phenomenal work. But when it's just like, oh, I got a 100-issue story, it's like,
well,
right, yeah,
100? You sure? But don't get it twisted. There's a lot of good stuff there, which I've heard interviews from him about like why certain things have changed. It was sometimes like you have an artist who's really good at drawing like superhero shit. You're not going to write a small story for that. You're going to write superhero shit because the artist does superhero shit.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I'm sorry. Question 2. 3 hours into this. 3 hours into this bad boy. Hey, look, here's the thing, right? I made a joke to somebody about this. I think it was Vegas, actually. It was like, I'm not going to be the most liked video you guys do. I'm not going to be the most watched video. I may not be the most commented video, but I might be the longest. As long as I get one of them. As long as I'm not the shortest. Being like, this motherfucker didn't have shit to say.
Sometimes you think that. Like you go into it, it's like it's not going to be this, but we're still going to have a good time doing it or whatever. And then it goes up, and you're like, holy shit, it's all of these things. Like, I mean, it's so unpredictable.
When
I
opened up that other button, it's just, oh my god, that freckled chest.
There's our thumbnail right there.
No, I'll give it to you.
That's it, 100%. That's the shot. Pack it up. We're done.
Done.
It's over. Time to go home. So you had the radio show. You had the Spider-Man.
Okay.
How do those coalesce and end up with you on Twitch? Like, what was the thing that drew you to streaming?
Okay. So what had happened was, I did the sports radio show for about 2 years, give or take. During that time at the radio station, I had the radio show, and then I also did my own show, which was called Zero Dark 30.
Hell yeah.
Which was because my show was between midnight and 2 a.m. So in other words, ain't nobody listening to that shit. Right? So a lot of that stuff was pre-recorded, but you had to record it like you were live because I would pre-record it, I would record it like I was live. And so like the only downside to that radio station, right? Which I love them, I ain't gonna name them because no. But like the only reason why that station was kind of like hit or miss was because they were like play everything, right? So like 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, like all that shit, right? So they were like, hey, you can't just keep playing stuff from the 90s and 2000s. You have to
Oh,
play stuff from the 70s,
everything.
stuff from the 10s, like all that shit, right? And so I was like, all right, cool, fine. And they were like, oh, by the way, we want you have to talk more. And I was like, what do you mean? They were like, well, you have to talk at this time, this time, this time. Because I kept my shit short, right? Because
Yeah.
I, being a guy who worked mid shift slash drove home on swing shift, so like I'm driving home at midnight and like I work during that time, and we would occasionally have radios out on the flight line. I'm an aircraft mechanic by trade. Um, which yeah, we're just gonna gloss over that. Don't worry about it. You guys have questions about it, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Oh,
But
it's coming.
so like as a guy who listens to the radio at nighttime, the last thing I fucking feel like hearing is
Is
some
yourself.
goddamn DJ talking about whatever the fuck he's talking about, right? You want to tell me about the news?
Just
Sure.
give me
You
some
want to tell me about the
jams.
weather? Okay. You want to talk to me about some like the sports shit that happened? Cool. I'm down. Let's rock that shit. You want to tell me about the top 10 vacation destinations that you haven't heard about? I don't fucking care. I don't. I just fucking don't. All right. I'm not gonna go to them. I don't care if you tell me Tahiti's beautiful in fucking February. I don't fucking care. I'm not going. Fucking next song, guy. Next song. So that's how I walked in that radio station in what I was doing. I was like, yo, 0 dark 30. I'm like, this is literally how it'd be, right? Obviously,
Mhm.
it's been fucking 5 years since I've done this shit. Not even 5 years, but something like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna move the mic way closer, so I'm gonna talk quieter. So that way I don't blow out everybody's eardrum. Hey, good evening, everybody. It's your friendly neighborhood Paul, and you guys are listening to radio station put in here. I'm not going to give them a shout out because fuck those guys. If you guys like the station, please think about if you got a song request, think about texting the number ba ba da ba da ba 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 da ba 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 ba. Right now, we got a request coming in from Jessie who says she needs a little bit of that Biggie Smalls in her life. So, coming at you right now with a little bit of Biggie. So, don't touch that dial, and we'll be right back. And then Biggie Smalls would play, and then
Jesse got good taste.
yeah. Well, I made up names every time. I was like, "Hey, nobody texted in," and I just like said that they were like, because before I used to broadcast. Let me move that mic away so I can talk back to normal sound. But like normally I would just be like, oh yeah, give it, call us in at da 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 or text at da da da. They were like, don't give the call number because you're not here. So
Oh,
like,
yeah.
so I was like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
Which makes sense when you think about it, but I'm like, hey, nobody gonna call my ass anyway, but sure. And so I would do that, and they were like, no, you gotta do like other stuff. You have to talk more. And I'm like, that's stupid. But it's not my station, and I'm just another jackass
With a
American, so
microphone.
like they don't care. So like I played by their rules. It sucked. I didn't like it. I would literally look up I got to a point where I was looking up this dumbest shit possible to talk about just to
Oh, yeah.
see who would say some shit. Because
Like
the actual
the top
manager.
5 breads to use on open face sandwiches.
Oh,
Like,
it was some shit like that. Like the best way to prepare your dinner for like your Sunday roast, right? Just stupid shit, right? Like BuzzFeed articles out the wazoo, right? And so what was funny is like I was doing the show, everything was fine.
Mhm.
I've been doing the 0 dark 30 thing, and that's where like FNH actually came into play. Is like when I actually started doing that is when I started doing that or doing the FNH because I was like, oh, I'd rather have more than just Paul on the radio, right?
Right.
Because every DJ's got to have a DJ handle, kind of shit. Oh yeah, that voice. Oh yeah,
There it
that's
was.
what
I
I
knew
do.
it was coming at some point. I
Yep.
knew it was coming.
And so we're sitting there, and I did that, and the guy claimed he listened to every recording I did to make sure everything was good. That motherfucker was like, once again, sorry for swearing, 3 months into me doing it, was
Mhm.
like, "What do you say, FNH? FNH doesn't sound good. Friendly neighborhood, that doesn't work. You should try something else." And I was like, bro, I've been doing this shit for 3 months. You mean to tell me now you're telling me? I was like, this motherfucker ain't listening to shit. He just said that so
Mm.
that way I would like pretend that he was.
He heard one recording. And was like, "This is something I can talk about." Like, yeah, it's like
No,
this is
it
a
was literally like,
criticism I
this
can
is
give you.
okay. Like,
Right?
this is
Yeah.
okay enough. And so it was like, as long as I didn't swear, talk, like say some stupid shit, I was in the clear. Like they didn't give a
Nice.
fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where. So I started. So I was doing the radio show, and then I left that just because. Long story short, they wanted us to change our like the main show I did,
Mhm.
the Thursday night huddle, which was like we just talk American sports. That's all we did. So we talk football primarily, but then when football season was on, we talk baseball, hockey, basketball, whatever, right? So they wanted us to move from Thursday evenings to Saturday mornings and Sunday nights, which I was like, okay, what do you mean Saturday morning? 8 to 10. Okay, what do you mean Sunday night? Uh 8 to midnight. Or like 8 to 10 at night. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Because like one guy lived 45 minutes away. And like our show was like from 7 to 10. So it was like a 3 hour show. And so I was like, he leaves work and shows up here and then goes home.
Mm-hmm.
You want him to wake up early as fuck, drive here, do a show, drive back. He spends an hour and a half in a car for a 2 hour show. No. And then you want him to do it on a Sunday night? No, get bent. Like, no.
Mhm.
We didn't say that. I was much more polite about it. But I was like, yeah,
Respectfully.
we're not gonna do it. Like that's not what we want to do. That's not what the show is. Like we're literally called Thursday night, and you want to move us to Saturday and Sunday, whatever, right? So we left the station and we left on good terms. They said if I ever wanted to come back, I could. Never going back to that station. I did debate it though. I did debate going back and doing one last show, just one last hoorah. Not that
Absolutely.
anybody who I started out talking to would remember me, aside from the guys who own the station. But I digress. And so like I left that show, and honestly, kind of funny is what kind of brought me into Twitch. So I went to a kind of funny meetup in 2018,
Okay. Yeah.
because they were doing the
Was that the world tour?
The
Here?
world tour. Yeah.
no, it wasn't the world tour. It was RTX London.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Ah.
Yep.
So it was
Yeah.
I think it was yeah, because 2020 was obviously like plague to it. Yeah, so it would have been 2018. So it was RTX London. And so RTX London, one of the big guys who was setting all that up was a man by the name of MC Fixer. You might know from the community. Does
Heard
like
the
an
name.
Xbox podcast and stuff, right? So he was setting that up, and I was talking to him, and obviously, like him being who he is, like he doesn't know me from a fucking hole in the wall. And so I'm talking to him, and I was like, "Oh, I'd love to do that kind of stuff." He's like, "Then fucking do it." I'm like, "It ain't that easy. I can't just fucking do it." So I started following him. I really started getting into Twitch after that. Like,
Mhm.
so I followed him, Snowbike Mike, Andy Cortez, like all that shit, right? I was already,
Mhm.
turns out I had been subbed to Kind of Funny, like for, like I logged in, made a Twitch account, logged in, subbed to them, and like never touched
I just
Twitch again.
dropped it.
And then dropped it. Dude, I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been having like $5 taken out of my account going to their Twitch account for like a year before I even fucked with Twitch. Like I just set that shit up once. It was like sub.
You're like, yeah,
Ha-ha!
I'll do this the one time, and then
I
and
didn't
then it
realize
just
that shit was
kept
auto
going.
renew. Cause yeah, like I hopped in there one time and it was like 23 months. I was like, what? How?
Then you're like, how?
I was like, oh yeah, because it's like not even okay, whatever, run it. Why not? And so I started following him and all that stuff, and he like MC Fixer was the reason I started streaming because he was like, you just do it. Why not? Give it a
Mhm.
whirl. So I went online. I bought a off-brand capture card. I bought a PC off of fucking Facebook, and
Hell yeah.
I tried it. I gave it a whirl, and here we are. Fucking, I started in 2019, so like 2 years later, here we are.
And now you're on this stupid show.
And now I'm being interviewed for like content creation. Hey, look, I made it. DMCA.
Nah, it's YouTube. Oh no, wait. Wait a minute.
Wait.
I take it back.
Hold
Again.
up. Wait.
For
There's
like
another DMCA right there.
For like the third time this episode, you're just gonna get.
I want Albal, I lie. I love you. I want you to start this episode off with, "Hi." You're gonna hear a random tone, and then just beep at random intervals, because Paul wouldn't shut the fuck up, and we can't have that on the stream.
Oh goodness!
You learn with us, we keep a lot in.
Yeah. There's not much that gets cut from these things.
Slap an intro, slap an outro, we good.
I don't know how much you think we edit these. Like, it's more like bop, gun, send it.
You were strongly overestimating the amount of work that goes into the cuts.
Except for the mental health episode that came out last week.
That one was intense.
That was a lot of editing on my part.
That one, I'm not gonna lie to you, Albob. I literally had an idea to record for that. Forgot. And then I saw one of your stuff on Twitter, and I was like, I literally was like in the middle of other shit. I stopped. I literally was like in the middle of typing up a fucking thing for something else. I literally stopped, moved everything out of the way, and was like, okay, let's do this. I gotta do this now, because if I don't do this now, my fucking brain will leave, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll do it afterwards. And then and then a week later I'll be like, record for that. I meant to put something in for that.
And hey, we appreciate you putting that in. By the time this episode comes out, that will have already gone out, been out there, and your part in that was excellent. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate you.
No problem, my man. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this episode and you haven't watched the episode, go in there, hit that like button, do the stuff. Like typical, you smash that like button, fucking powerbomb that subscribe, go in those comics and give them a quick scissor kick.
Put it on Facebook, I guess. I don't know, like share it around.
Like, comment, share.
Like whatever.
Just give us a sub. Make those numbers go up. Maybe just leave it on in the background. Just let the watch time go up.
Here's what you do is you
open
your laptop. Yeah, so you open like your laptop or computer. You get it on your phone. You make sure that if you have YouTube Premium, you can start like something on YouTube on your phone. Throw it in the background, it'll keep playing, so that'll keep running. And then you take whatever your home console is, have that on the TV. You need some background noise, right? You got to sleep. Everybody sleeps with white noise, I feel like, right? Just throw that on. Just put it on there, let it go, let it ride.
Okay, hang on. I know we're taking a turn on question 2. So, like, do you actually have YouTube Premium?
I do actually pay for YouTube.
I do,
Premium.
yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I do as well. But the amount of
cool.
memes I see that are like people who buy YouTube Premium, and it's like nobody. I'm like,
yeah. I had a conversation with somebody at work not too long ago. They're like, imagine paying for YouTube Premium, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what kind of idiot would do that.
Right. I don't think you understand. Typically the stuff I watch is like an hour long, if not more.
Plus, yeah.
Yeah.
And so like the not having ads at the beginning, the middle, the other middle, the other middle, the ending middle. Like
and then the end.
And then being able to lock your phone and listen to stuff.
Yep.
That was the main reason I picked it up, was to be able to play in the background without having my phone on.
Because there's some stuff I listen to as a podcast that's not really a podcast, but it is a comic. I mean, there's a comic book there's a comic book comic book show channel that I watch that do stories on back issues of other comics.
Cool.
And so they will talk about that comic for like an hour. And so instead of having my phone on for an hour, I can just listen to that shit as a podcast because they don't go verbatim with it. And it just works out.
I honestly, it's like people can meme it all they want, but I mean, it's the utility of just having it to where you can listen to it like it's fucking Spotify or something, but it's still YouTube. It allows you to download videos as well, which has saved me on flights and that sort of thing, where I'll just download a bunch of like Let's Plays or Kind of Funny podcasts or something.
That has saved me on so many fucking
Oh, yeah.
DUIs. I will not lie to you. Like the amount of times where I'll be like wherever I am to where I can get like decent signal, and I can just download like, all right, cool, 3 podcast, dope. All right, cool. On to the next thing, and I can go to work and actually like listen to something without like just wanting to hate myself more so than normal.
And I hate ads so much, and so it's like
Same.
that was already there, and then they put fucking Cobra Kai came out on YouTube. Yeah, you didn't know where I was going with it. How you're like, yo, Cobra Kai.
I was literally gonna say that if none of you guys were, because I remember watching that when that came out. Was it 2017, 2018? I think
2018.
That sounds right. I think.
Regardless, yeah, came out.
Yeah, I mean, so question what 4, 3?
3, 4.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like I said, this is going to be a 7-hour episode. Strap in, sports fans. If you got premium, just fucking lock your phone and walk away.
Do you have plans today? Cancel them. You're here now. So this is another one coming from the Waypoint Press Poll. Other Josh, who wants to know, as somebody that of course is in the military and in the UK. Like how much of a struggle is to find time to stream? Because I mean, I live here on the East Coast of the U.S. My job schedule isn't too crazy, and I already have a very hard time like trying to find like exactly when I'm going to stream. I don't have all of this other shit like on top of that. Like how much of a struggle is that for you?
Phenomenal question. Legitimately, that's a solid question. It is difficult for me in the regard of I never really know. I have a general idea of what my work schedule is going to be like, so I'll know rough. They try not to move us around too much as far as like on duty on shift. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, you're going to work like mid shift, so you'll work from midnight to 8 a.m. or you're going to work days, which is like 8 to 4, and then like 4 to midnight. Or weekend shift, which is roughly the same except you work Friday to Monday. But it's like, hey, you're going to work these shifts. We're going to try to keep you on these shifts for about 3 months at a time before we rotate people. Because obviously some people who are on day shift don't want to be there. Mid shifters don't want to be stuck on that and what have you. So they try not to move us around too much. They try to just because obviously sleep schedules, work schedules, all that kind of stuff. However, I'm in a weird spot where just stream time wise, right? Just getting to to peel behind the curtain, the brass tacks of it. There are certain times that are better to stream than others. Because as much as I would love to think that everyone would come watch me when I go live, I understand that there are other streamers who go live at the same time.
There's two other ones in this very room.
Yeah. And so it's not even like, oh, you like them more than me, you don't want to come watch. But it's literally like, hey, I'm on my phone at work. I can't pull up 4 different streamers to watch at one time. I gotta pick one. And so like for me, my time that I stream is like in the evening time for me, which is like in the early late morning, early afternoon for those people stateside, which is fine because typically I will say, there are a small amount of streamers who are live at that time. However, if I were to try to stream at let's say midnight my time, which is 6 p.m. Central Time, which is that at that point, the East Coast streamers have started, the Central Coast, Jesus Christ, the Central Time
Central Coast.
Central West Coast, Best Coast.
Hey, there's a the Gulf of Mexico touches
Texas.
Central Time. Fuck you. I'm not wrong. You just don't think outside the box. Anyway, and not to mention Canada. They're in that Central Time. They have water up there. I mean, it's probably ice and
Midwest Coast, Best Coast. You got all the Great Lakes. They're on Michigan.
No coast
love. Not coast. They're lakes.
No coast love. Ha! Regardless. But everybody is starting their streams roughly around that point, or they got off work, so they're going to start streaming. And so, like, that's a tough thing to do, and God forbid I try to compete with some of those because some people it's not even like, "Oh, they like me more," it's just the sheer amount. Like, the amount of eyes, because like, our communities have a
Mm,
lot of overlap. Like, the Venn diagrams aren't a complete circle,
But
they're
it's pretty
real
damn
fucking
close.
close.
yeah.
And so,
It looked like the
because
Olympics
of that
logo. I mean, just
yeah, like, damn near. So some would say even more so, like,
but like
crushed,
but
but
like yeah, closer together.
yeah, so it is a lot of you have to kind of balance that out. And so thankfully with the shift that I'm working, which I work overnights, which is midnight to 8 a.m., I can get the ability to stream from my normal time, which is
Mhm.
I normally start about 6 and then go to about 10 to midnight, depending on the day and depending on yada yada yadas. So typically speaking, I do what I can to try to keep a consistent schedule because I know that it's one of those things that a lot of people like. You know, it's just like you programming. If you go
Mhm.
on, if you were to turn on fucking channel 7 and all of a sudden Price is Right ain't on at 11 o'clock, there's a problem. There's a problem. Like, where's Drew Carey? Why
Just
is he
ruined
not
my
on
whole
my TV?
morning.
Yeah, my whole fucking day is ruined. Drew Carey's not there to fucking spin the wheel. What the hell? And so how I'm not even remotely comparing myself as to as important as Price is Right, but like, hey, why isn't Paul online? What's happening? And then if you're not following me on my social medias, you're not a part of the Discord, you're just like, all right, whatever,
I
he's
miss
not
it.
there, like whatever. Meanwhile, I might have something come up, or I might just be like, hey, I'm running a little late today. Bam, we're gonna be going live a little bit later, you know? And so it is difficult by any stretch of the imagination to manage. But at the same time, like I do what I can and I finagle my work schedule enough to kind of try to keep a consistent stream schedule. Now, do
Nice.
other things suffer, like my sleep? Maybe. You don't fucking know. You're not my fucking doctor. What the fuck do you know?
Hey, you, my wife, leave me alone.
Who the fuck are you? What, you got a fucking doctorate? If you do, congratulations. You a fucking smart person. However, you're not my fucking PCM, so fuck off.
You got a doctor? Well, I don't. That's where I stream on Twitch.
Who needs a GED when you're an affiliatee? I'm kidding. That's a bit for a character that I do. No, go to
We
high
hear
school,
it.
finish high school at
Yeah,
least.
we here at Waypoint do not recommend trying to replace Twitch with college. Just want to say we
Or
don't recommend that.
no, replace a GED with Twitch.
Yeah,
Yes.
GED.
Yes.
There's a big difference. Like college, GED. Like at least get that, please
Like, please
God.
finish high school. Like, please,
Please,
please do that.
oh,
I highly
beauty
recommend
school
it.
dropout. Beauty school dropout. Yeah.
Beep.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna say.
Now,
I imagine this episode's gonna be 10 minutes. Like this, Paul's been talking stupid shit. So here's the new introducing himself. Here's the end of the episode. Everything else, like we can't show.
Two people are gonna be sitting around the water cooler. It's like, hey, watch that new grind. It's like, yeah, it was just kind of white noise for a lot of it. Like, I think they had 5 minutes of actual conversation, and the rest was just censored noise. Like, why didn't they cut that?
now I know back when Twitch was having that big push with DMCA, I know you had quite a lot of sound clips that
You're the fucking best. You're the fucking
had
best.
some choice music.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you? I don't know where I was going with this question, but have you made that switch to completely taking all that stuff out of your stream because of that, or do you keep some of that in? Like, what's that balance? I guess.
Once again, a phenomenal question. Long story, a long, to make a long answer short, no, I have not. Um, I I got rid of some stuff. So I had like a few things built into where like when certain people would come in, like an entrance song would play.
Mhm.
And it'd be like 10, 15 seconds of a song at some points, which I understand is way too fucking long. But at the time, when you have Batman the animated series or the Superman animated series song starting off, you can't just cut that. Like,
Right.
Yeah, you gotta let
I
it ride.
want to hear that. Ba, 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 like, I want to hear that. And same thing with like, but then when you have like Alicia Keys, this girl is on fire. Like, you probably should cut it there,
Yeah.
not let it go for another 10 seconds. So I
It's
stopped doing that. But then with everything else, I was like, okay, if they like DMCA me for like my, you the fucking best, like 20-second, 10-second, 15-second thing,
Hmm.
I was waiting for one of those because like I was waiting to see if they hit me with it. Because if they hit me with, because I thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't had any strikes yet for that kind of stuff. So I was kind of waiting to see like, okay, if they do hit me for this, I will then move to all like ridiculous like royalty free sounds that like everybody's using.
yeah.
However, I did move away from just playing music. I will say that. Fucking thank
Yeah.
God for like stream beats and like royalty free. I don't know how royalty free they are, but like royalty free music on YouTube. Cause like I
Mm.
definitely was just like royalty free rock music,
Yeah.
royalty free lo-fi, royalty free blah 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 blah
Mhm.
blah. And so it was just like, okay, we're just, it's an hour video. All right, cool. We'll put this on at the beginning and any ad break, bathroom break or anything like that. Like that's what I'll
Mm.
do. But yeah, I haven't done a lot with it, although I probably should considering like, all my sounds are probably copyrighted. Literally all my sounds are copyrighted. There's not I got Stone Cold, I got Drake, I got fucking 50 Cent, like I get money.
These aren't even like low key artists though either. Like
Oh,
fucking
they're like up there. Like
Mhm.
I ain't even trying anymore.
That's awesome. Coming up on time, I got two questions for you. Whether they actually end up being quick, we'll find out. But these are the last two that I that I have prepared for you. So, um, I was actually very curious. So we talked about kind of the origin story, what got you into it, what motivates you to do it, how your schedule and all that is like. So what sort of goals do you have for Twitch.tv/ FNH Paul? Because I mean, you're in the military doing that for a little. I don't know how long you're gonna stay in or whatever, but I mean, it's like where do you kind of see at least like the content creation and like the podcast and everything going?
So that's a question that I ask myself quite a bit quite often. Where do I see this going? Where can I go from here? And honestly, I would say a lot of this where I would love to see this go is it turn into I can do this full time, which
Yeah, it's the
everybody
dream.
and their mother wants this to be their full time gig.
That's the dream, baby.
Um, but I would say I would love to use this as a way to jump to step into something similar to voice acting. I would
Cool.
love to like
Oh
voice
yeah.
acting, presenting something like that. Like anybody who stops by my channel knows that I do anywhere from 1 to 7 voices in any given stream. Like,
May have heard a few tonight.
yeah, you've heard a few
There's been
tonight.
at least
Like,
four here.
before this recording, I was live, and I was able to transition from like my brain, which I'm sure at one point I'm going to break with just constructing different characters and like, all right, well, this is this character 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like, and how they all have different voices and how like they all, I could write an origin story for each one of them, which is not going to help them not become real personalities in my brain, which is then going to make me a terrible person at some other point. Like, no, that was not me. That was Frankie. Yo, man, what are you saying? It was Frankie over here. It wasn't Frankie. It was obviously Patty over there. Hey, watch your fucking mouth over there. Trying to say it was a fucking Patty. I don't break your fucking knees. Can't put my fucking shillelagh. You want that, Frankie? Nah, man,
Oh,
I'm just
shit.
saying. Well, comrade over there trying to say, no, what you trying to blame comrade for? No, what? Now, hold on, everybody. Let's not get a little too crazy here.
I feel like in
Let's
15
all
years, I'm gonna
take
see a
a break.
photo like pop up on you like in a straight jacket somewhere, just popping voices off like, like one after the other.
Where you see, then you go from like a deep southern voice. Now, hang on, everybody. Now, let's hold on a minute. Now, I do say, sir, I don't believe that you should be doing these things. I think that for your own mental health, you should. Now, why don't you shut up over there? Now, you see, it's not your problem. Who are you to come in here and tell me how to live my life, you say?
So is
That's
this
not
just a
real.
backdoor into your demo reel? We got any agents out there?
Yo,
I
man,
mean,
you
I was
like
literally just
literally,
thinking.
I can play 7 different goons that you can kill off in a minute. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'll do death sounds in each one of them. Ugh, ah, ugh. Holla at your boy. My DMs are always open.
Hit 'em up.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm gonna make that the breakout clip, but I'm probably gonna make that the breakout clip.
Just Paul going like Paul's mental breakdown of just like a bunch of different characters yelling at each other for no reason. What caused this? Tune in to find out.
There's no kind. There's nothing before it. There's nothing after it. It's just voice to voice, and that's it.
But that's where I would love to see this go, is like I could actually take this into something tangible, like a voice acting thing. Now I understand that based on what I do and based on what I can, like my level of like skill
Mhm.
is like, I understand I'm not going to become Troy Baker, Nolan North, anybody on the Critical Role cast, but like being able to do something, even if it is like a small indie game, like I would love nothing more than that. Like seeing my name in the credits of an indie game, doing like, even if it is bad guy number 3, soldier number 2, like I don't give a shit. That'd be fucking dope.
Yeah.
Just so I could be like, haha, see, family, I'm important. I did things.
Is your name in the credits of a video game? Because mine
I
is.
don't think so. Go back to your basic job, you bish. But yeah, so like doing this, possibly going into presenting, even going into something a little bit more broadcasting wise. Like I would love to, kind of like host shows or do something like so
Mhm.
do something along those lines. Like that would be something that I would like dream to do, even if it is like, hey, here's your wrap up of like the gaming news you might have missed last week, or like, hey, in comics this week we got this, or yo, did you see that new movie trailer? Check out, blah 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 blah. The next Marvel Phase 17. Let's go. Whatever it may be. It's like all these things are things that I would love to do, and that I hope me doing Twitch and using this. I need to eventually develop like an actual reel of like, hey, like send people like, hey, here's what I can
Portfolio.
do. Because portfolio. Because right
Mhm.
now it's just like, yo, check out my Twitch. Like there's a. But the bad thing is I need to comb through that, because there's a lot of stuff where I was a little, and so it's like, let's delete all that, all of that.
Clean slate.
I'm not about to tell you I'm going to go to Disney Channel, but let me tell you, if Disney ever hits me up, every VOD, every clip, I don't care how wholesome, deleted,
Oh yeah, 100%.
gone, expunged.
Maybe hit the do not allow clip button for a bit.
I'll get
Yeah.
I'll get rid of what I have to go work for Disney. You know what I mean? Like that's
Bro,
the like one of
even
the
if it
few
was
things I'll
like,
sacrifice.
hey, Paul, you're going to go on and you're going to be Bob. You
The
know who
builder.
Bob is? Bob is a Hydra agent who works with Deadpool occasionally. Bet
Yep.
I don't expunge my
Yeah.
records. Bet. Even if all I do is wear a mask that covers up everything but my mouth. To have Ryan Reynolds punch me in the face, which I think technically they did that in like the first Deadpool movie. I don't give a shit. Like fucking run that. Run it. Hydra doesn't make sense anymore because they're not in the green jumpsuits, but fucking send it.
I'm gonna get on Twitter one day and FNH Paul will just have disappeared. It'll just be gone. And then I'll know, just in the back of my mind, I'll be like looking at the window, I was like, he did it. That son of a bitch, he did it.
And then you're
Like,
gonna see Paul VO. Like or VA voice actor, like, aha, you son of a bitch. Don't you try to rebrand on me.
No, you're just gonna see that
Well,
account follow you now.
so fucking good. And so one that we always like to wrap up with, I know we're 4 months into the year and so, but it's like, do you have like, what would you consider to be like your game of the year so far? I know you're on Twitch, you're playing lots of games, like
Or
sometimes
anticipated
Twitch
game,
doesn't
too,
play. Or
this
most anticipated game. Thank you.
Oh, most anticipated game. That's so Mass Effect. It's not even playing.
Ooh.
Mass
Yeah.
Effect Legendary Edition. I am a huge
It's less than a month away.
huge Mass Effect fan. Yeah, it's not a whole lot longer to wait, which, oh my god.
It might be out by the time this goes
I'm
up.
so jazzed.
No, it's a month. It's May
It's-
Oh, is it a
14th, I
month?
think.
I thought it was this
Yeah,
month. For some
it's
reason. Okay.
mid-May. It's mid-May.
I think
Like,
yeah, May 14th.
I don't want to think about the day. I just want to be able to like just turn on my Xbox one day and it's like ready to play. And it's
There
like,
it is.
bam, let's
Right.
go.
Right.
Or I just want my helmet because
You got you got like the collector's edition? Hell yeah.
What I love is it came with a
Nice.
metal case, right? So that way, because like
Oh, yeah.
that way they don't have to like
Steelbooks, yeah.
PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. I'm buying that game digitally. I don't give a shit. I'm still gonna have that SOB sitting back there somewhere, and I'm
Fuck
gonna have
yeah.
that helmet. I'm gonna wear it. Am my headphones gonna work? No. Am I gonna buy earbuds for it? Absolutely, I will because send it. But yeah, Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition is one of my biggest rated games. I used to play Mass Effect every weekend. Literally, like it was as I always put it, the Sunday space soap opera. Because that's all Mass Effect is. It's a soap opera with bits of shooting in between. Because it's just like, oh, will they love this person? What happens over here? What's gonna happen? Oh, their twin sister turned out to be like, wait, what? Like my daughter, she's actually my daughter. Bum bum bum. Like, and so, all these things, it's like I love those games. And unfortunately, I stopped playing them because when I upgraded from the one to the Series S, which the only reason I got Series S instead of an X was because my American credit card didn't want to work in time. Yeah, it's hurts.
Damn.
Regardless. When I upgraded everything, not all of the DLC that I had downloaded transferred over properly. And so they
No.
wanted to charge me for all the DLC, which for like, because I was in the middle of a Mass Effect 3 run, which meant that in
Oh
order for me
yeah.
to continue that, I had to buy all the DLC, which was the Leviathan DLC, the Citadel DLC, and the From the Ashes DLC. So it's the Leviathan was where you get the Leviathan and you meet like what the Reapers were based off of. The people who made the Reapers,
Mhm.
which is fucking terrifying because you're like in a big mech suit and then it shows up and that motherfucker's the size of a skyscraper. And you're like, "Hmm, I don't like this. There's like, because you're like under, and there's like three of these motherfuckers that show up, and you're like,
Oh, jeez.
You're like, no,
this
yeah, it's
is not gonna end well if I gotta fight them solo in a robot suit underwater. But it's
intimidating.
like it's an intimidating feature, which they do very well in that game. Which kudos to you, Bioware. But then you have From the Ashes, where you get the Prothean, which is a phenomenal character to have in there. One of the best lines in that is like, stand in the ashes of 1,000 dead souls and ask them if honor matters. And
Yeah,
it's like,
dude.
yeah, it don't fucking matter. Like, honor's great and all when you win. When you lose, then you're an idiot. Like, and so like that I love, and then the Citadel DLC, which is a phenomenal thing they do, which is kind of like you do it right before the end. Is always the
Mhm.
way you do it. Like right before you do that final battle, you go to the Citadel and you do all the Citadel DLC, which is like they bring every character that you have not killed throughout the series comes back and has a little tidbit, and it's
Mhm.
fucking great. It's fun. You take a little like group photo there at the end, which is like can be real depressing, which I've done once where it's like I kill everybody I can except like I kill everyone except like the amount of people I need to not like lose in Mass Effect 2. Which if you wipe the entire party in Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3's Citadel DLC, real empty. Real empty. It goes from
Yeah.
being like a party to a kickback. It's like, oh no, there's like 7 people here. Oh no.
Uh,
Versus like, oh yeah, we got like 25, 30. It's like now we got like 7.
Mm.
Whew, I should not have killed everyone in that last gameplay. But that was the joke. I did the death run because it was just like, nah, everybody died. Everybody dead. Are you sure? Yep. Everybody dead.
yes.
And
Awesome.
so,
I would have expected Mass Effect. I didn't know you're a huge
oh,
fan. Like
oh yeah,
to that level.
yeah. Like I've ran through that game just on stream. I ran through that game, I think 5 times. Two
Wow.
Oh
and three,
wow.
I ran through it. I think the fifth time was when it fucked up on me.
Mm,
But like I ran through Mass Effect 2 and 3 about 5 times each. Mass Effect 1, I ran through twice. Because
yeah.
Mass Effect 1 was a fucking nightmare. It's
It's
so
rough around the
I
edges.
played that
and
for
you
the
know what
first time last year because I was going through the Mass Effects, and right
Yep.
around when I would say it was a few hours into two, was when the rumors started kicking around of like, hey, the Legendary Edition's
Yeah.
like rumored to be coming out soon. So that's when I stopped because I'm like, oh, I want to play this if it's going to be remastered.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And fast forward a
Which
year, it's still
yeah.
not here.
Yeah.
True, true. But here's the thing, right? So I will say right now to stop everybody from fucking losing their mind about it. Mass Effect 3, they have fixed mostly bugs. That's gonna look better.
The story's gonna be the
But
same.
the story's the same. They're not adding anything. They have fixed a handful of bugs. They are not it's not going to be in like 4K 60 frames a second, like crazy shit. It ain't. It's going to be that game. They're going to polish it up a little bit, but mostly it was a bug fixes for 3. 1, a big overhaul. 2, cleaning it up a little bit, bug fixes. That's it. All right. Manage your
Lens flares.
expectations. If you are unsure about whether or not you want to play this game, give it a week. Give it a week and then buy it. Cyberpunk taught us things, sports fans and Waypoint fanboys and girls and non binaries. Don't buy it just because of the hype. If you're not sure, give it a week. That is my general thing. Because right now I buy everything digital, right? I
Yeah.
ain't got to worry about like, oh, they don't have they're out of stock near me. Fuck it, buy it digitally. That shit's
All
there
digital
now.
future, baby.
Yeah. All
Like
digital. I
I
haven't
have
bought a
I
disc
have a
in like
Series
3 years.
exactly. I have a Series S, and even my PlayStation 4 is like I haven't bought a physical game in a hot minute because, like, the thought of having to swap a disc out makes me like, "Ugh,
Which is so
ugh."
funny because it's so much faster than downloading this 80 gig game that I wanted. That because
Not
I'm like,
really.
if I decide one night, well, if it's, at least on PlayStation, because of the way that PlayStation does their downloads and installs. If I decide that it's like, you know what, I really want to play God of War, I'm playing it tomorrow. Like I'm not playing
Very
it
true.
tonight.
Very
Sure,
Yeah.
true.
but, like, if I'm buying a disc, if I'm buying the disc version of, like, let's say, whatever the hell the new game is, well,
Mhm.
Black Ops. We'll just say Black Ops, right? You like the disc is gonna have like 10%, 20% of the
It's the
fucking
license
game.
at this point.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like the other 80% of the game, you're gonna have to download all the flying all like
It
online
is
anyway.
pretty
So
damn
it's
close
like
these days.
fuck off with it. Like the disc or like might as well just be like a thumb drive that you just like or like the Switch thing where it's just like, all right, cool. Like, stop putting it on
Hmm.
disc. Just stop. Like,
It's
even
still it's
even the Switch cartridges, I don't fuck with. Like, I
it's
still
still
like
a
them all
huge
digital.
download, but you got to get up and put it in, and then it's the worst thing to where if you're just going through your library and it'll show all of your uninstalled stuff. Like there have been times where I'm like, ooh, I want to start downloading this game, and I hit it and it kicks up. It's like, hey, you got to put the disc, and I'm like, God damn it, like I gotta go find it now. Like
Or if you
fuck.
don't have the disc anymore, but it still shows up in your library.
Oh yeah, I've had
So,
that.
sorry, dying. Um, well, what's funny is Overwatch has now made a resurgence in my life. I was
Same.
like, well, I remember on the Xbox, on my old account on the Xbox, I had a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
On my new account on my PlayStation account, I remember having a bunch of stuff. Like, oh, let me just boot up Overwatch, download or oh, we need the disc. I'm like, oh
Don't
god,
anymore.
I did have it, but it was in a box that was still that like was in my was in my guest room from when we moved. Like it was up there, and I moved into this house like 2 years ago. And I'm like, fucking hell. A, that tells you how long ago I played Overwatch on PlayStation. And B, that tells you how often I fuck with disc in physical
Yeah,
media.
It's just not
It's
worth
like,
it anymore.
not really anymore. Like, just send it. Why not? Like, just digital. I understand some people like having the physical thing, but it's at the end of the day, it's like you have a license anyway. Like, they could turn that shit off at any given point.
Hmm. And on that note, thank you guys so much for watching this
That's
episode.
where we're ending. Turn it off. Like, digital media. Ha! Bye. Go digital.
Bye, digital, you nerds. Uh,
You fucking dorks.
fucking dorks. Paul, dude, thank you so much for coming on, man. We
Yes, thank
appreciate
you.
it. I know it's been in the pipeline for a little while. I'm glad we finally got to sit down and do it, man.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Real quick before we take off, pimp your shit. What are you doing and where can we find you?
Allow me to quit my whistle one more time. Hello, dog. The dog wants to pimp her stuff. She has nothing to pimp other than she wants treats.
Other
All right.
than cute.
Other than cute, spotty. You're really interrupting. Anyway, she's like, hey. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys don't know who I am, once again, I am your friendly neighborhood Paul. I broadcast live on twitch.tv/FNH Paul every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes on Thursday starting at 6 p.m. GMT or noon Central Time. I play a variety of games. Right now, I am playing Ghost of Tsushima, and then when the Mass Effect remaster drops, bet we gonna be playing that. I also do a podcast called Nostalgia on the Rocks, where myself and another streamer friend, probably Oliver, sit down and we talk about the games of old, the games of new, and everything in between. And you guys check that out. Oh, if you guys don't catch those episodes live, you can check them out over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com. Not even /FNH Paul, because I'm not at enough subscribers for that yet. But if you search FNH Paul, you'll find me. You can find me at twitter.com/FNH_Paul, Instagram.com/FNH_Paul, because I'm a dummy. And unfortunately, everything isn't quite synergized, but it's close enough for you guys to hopefully find me. And once again, thank you, Rumble, and thank you, Alba. I'm sorry.
They're both Chris. They're both Chris.
They're both Chris. They are. And I hate myself for fucking that up. I'm not blaming them.
Chris, it starts with R's. It's like the same number of syllables. Like it's all good. So of course, there's lots more information. There's lots more information down in the description below. Maybe go read it. You know, or don't. I don't care. I kind of do actually. Please go read it. I love you guys all soon. I'll see you next time.